All right, good morning, good morning. Hello, everybody. So excited about today. We are hitting off day 4 of the OPC challenge. This is our challenge time. So super excited. If you are joining me live, feel free to say hello. Where are you from? How's it going? Did you find your 10 projects from yesterday? How are your tracking sheets going? Did you start a binder? All the things. Just tell us all the things as you pop in. I do have something to start in just a minute, but we'll let everybody grab their spaces. If you are joining this recording, I welcome you as well. I know everybody has a busy schedule, no big deal. And the videos will be available for you to watch anytime on your own schedule for probably a month or so. So with that, my hair is getting long and I live in the middle of nowhere. I've got to figure out where I can get my hair cut. So anyways, good morning, Joni. So I am Becky from Patchwork Posse, as well as my online quilt group, the International Association of Quilters. I help you get connected with other quilters and become best friends with your sewing machine. So that is my goal right now. We are in the middle of the Orphan Project Challenge. So we are setting up ourselves for sewing this weekend, but you can start anytime you want for sewing. No hard, fast rules here. Good morning, Elaine and Sue, Northeast Iowa. Good morning. Oh, good morning, Karen. My mother's name is Karen. Just a little tidbit there. So how is everybody doing as far as the challenge is going? What is my goal? I just found you. Yeah, Vicki. My goal, see, is still this pile. And I think today what I'm going to do, shelves or no shelves, I'm going to move boxes around upstairs. And so the daughter is just going to have all of her clothes in her room in a box, and because that's where they're at right now. So I'm just going to move the boxes. And I'm going to take this stuff upstairs and set up. I've got a Lifetime table up there. So I think I'm just going to start without the shelves, and then maybe she can pressure. Yes. So there you go. Marianne, good morning. Carol, good morning. So glad you're here. And Billy. So we are starting off day 4 with the topic of our orphan quilt blocks. Now, this is part of the pack that you get when you join the challenge. Just so you know, this is, good morning, Sue. I'm going to put a link in here so you can join anytime. But the pack includes the tracking sheets, includes the ebook, and it includes your prep. Good morning, Laura. Vicki says, actually, I'm amazed my design was approved as soon as I enlarged the pattern from 10 to 30-inch block. Trying to work into quilting pieces now. Oh, that's such good news, Vicki. Such good news. Yes. So your goal for today is sewing, right? Sewing that big block. Love it. Leanne, good morning. Sunny Spokane. Yes. So yeah, so we've been digging around our piles, our hot spots. We've been organizing our projects. Yesterday, we dove into each individual project and used our tracking sheets. And today, we're going to talk about those orphan quilt blocks that you found along the way. So we always find something. Marcia, good morning. Carol and Bobby. Oh, Carol, sunny Illinois. Somebody else was from Illinois earlier, were we not? Oh, Iowa. Different state. Sorry. Vicki, your goal is to enlarge the pattern, write down instructions. If that sounds good, then cutting up. Yes, awesome. Julia, good morning. Yeah, I love that. I love that goal. I mean, simple enough, right? We say simple enough, but whatever. Leanne, Bobby, she grew up in Illinois. There you go. Making connections already. Cheryl, Kansas City. Welcome. Carol says she's just down across the river from Iowa, Quad Cities. Yeah. Love finding our neighbors. Oh my goodness. Yes. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and remove my face. And as requested of yesterday, make it the big screen. So it is in present mode. So I'll read it if you want. All right. So here we go. So we are on day 4. Can everybody see this and make sure, just say yes, yes for hello from Lake Ozark. Yeah, give me a thumbs up or something. Marsha's in Tucson, super warm. Right, Marsha? We've been getting up to about 95 or something, but it cools down in the evening, which I love. Okay, we can see the screen. Perfect. So day 4 is what we've got going on today. It's all about our orphan quilt blocks. So what to do with all those blocks? It's time to dig into the ebook. This isn't going to be super long, but if you got any questions, drop them in the comments and let's talk about it. So here we go. So the ebook, which is found on your download page, as well as for IAQ member, it's included because IAQ members get the challenge and all the resources for free. So this is a great resource to use anytime you're finding yourself overrun by your orphan quilt blocks. I thought I'd share a few of my favorites inside the ebook. You'll find projects, inspiration for using your quilt blocks. We've been talking about quilts and our other projects, but what about the blocks that we have left over from previous quilts that either don't work, wrong size, wrong fabric? So this is the 10-minute table runner. Why is it 10 minutes? Because you're using quilt blocks that you already have. So I know it's a little blurry, but I had these set of blocks and I was just like, I'm not going to use them for anything else. So I put them side by side, alternating them, stuck a back on it. And it looks like this one was done pillowcase method. So I didn't even put a real binding on it. So just went right sides together, zip around, and then turn right sides out. So super simple. You do not have to overthink using these quilt blocks for like a mega quilt. You do not have to do that. So, oh, there's my sweet Daisy. Book covers, pin cushions, doggy pillows, fabric bins, zipper bags, mini quilts. There are enough projects to keep you sewing those blocks into something new. So really, the quilt blocks allow us to do anything. Really, it's just the size that we're starting with. And if it's not big enough, add a border. If it's too big, cut it down. Like or use it for applique, which is a lot of fun too. They are like magic, these quilt blocks. You don't have to spend any time sewing them because you already have them. You just need to grab the needed materials to complete the blocks into something finished, using what you already have, which is a plethora of quilt blocks. Yesterday, we talked about our plethora of quilts or projects. And today, it's the plethora of quilt blocks. So browse the ebook, pick up a few quilt blocks, and do a little project in between those other orphan projects you are working on. And during one of our OPCs, Charmaine has said, these were truly orphans. I found these in a sale bin in the 12 hand piece blocks and were made on Sears catalog pages. Most of the orphan blocks are a result from my indecision. So what to do with these blocks, and they were put into a little like table topper quilt, which is adorable. I love table topper quilts. I use those all the time. All the time. Vicky says, is there a pattern in the ebook to just take all your quilt blocks, improving into one If not, we need to work on a pattern if you think it would be some members would like to try. Yeah, I mean, they're similar. I'll talk about that for a minute, Vicki. It's similar to the improv where you kind of just lay your blocks out and work them together, adding spacers when needed. In the workbook, there was the one page that showed you how many blocks you needed to do block quilt side by side or an alternating block quilt. Yeah. So there was that layout, but nothing specific for the quilt blocks to put into. I know some, and I've done this before in the past, Vicki, is where I've laid the blocks out and I've marked out like, okay, I want the finished section to be 20 by 20. And so I add blocks and spacers until I get to the 20 by 20 size. And then I work on another section. And then, you know, when I get 6 of those sections together, and I know they're all 20 by 20s because I've kind of pre-measured it on my design wall, then I can put them all together knowing they'll match up. And it is a little bit mishmashy, but it's real. Those are a lot of fun. So very much, much more busier than an improv, where improv usually has a lot of background space. So yeah. So yes. Good morning, Joyce. But that would be kind of fun. But we did do that, and it probably could be reviewed in the improv videos, the last one when we're setting them together. I talk a little bit about that process. So yeah. Billy says, I have orphan scraps, leftover triangles from making stitch and flip blocks. Billy, let me tell you, it's called triangleitis. It's a real issue. I have it, and I sew that extra line. So I always have piles of triangle squares left over, half square triangles. Yep. Yeah. And just a heads up, we talk tomorrow, I'm introducing something that you get to use all your scraps with. So these leftover triangle bits will work perfectly for that as well. Super fun. So excited. All right. So yeah, other people confessing that they do the same. Bobby and Sandy. Yep. Vicki says, Cheryl Arkinson, Scrap versus Scrap Bee, presented to our Modern Quilt last night. Great trunk show, presentation and tips. Oh yeah, she's brilliant. I love that. Scrap versus Scrappy. That sounds really good because there is a little bit of difference. So yeah. But yeah, all those half square triangles. So much fun. All right. So you already have the blocks. They're a little bit easier to deal with, and these are great for popping in between your orphan projects. You don't necessarily need to use tracking sheets with this. It's just finding a project maybe in the ebook or something else that you have, and sewing, making sure you have all the materials and sewing together. So there's pictures for each step. So you can print the ebook and keep it in a binder for quick reference, but most of the projects have pictures showing each step, which is super helpful. So the one that's highlighted right there is Scrappy Bits. So it's like mile a minute, and I put doilies on top and cut them into hearts and made them into pillows, and that's a lot of fun as well. Oh, and yes. So these are quilt blocks that have been cut into the shape of like ornaments, and they're just fabric ornaments, or you could make banners out of them or whatever. So you can take a simple 9-patch block or an Ohio Star block or whatever else and lay these little templates out on the block and cut out fun shapes or banners and use your quilt blocks for those. Those are a lot of fun, and they are super, super quick. I believe the edges on this one are finished with pinking shears, making it even faster. So you layer them up, stitch around them, and pink shear the edges. All right, so the question is, what are you going to sew with your blocks? All right, I'm going to see if there's any other questions. Joni says, I take my leftovers and sort into shapes, and then all my shapes are in bins or bags and a lot easier to find and use. Yes, and I believe Bonnie Hunter has a way of organizing her scraps as well. I'm working on getting somebody booked in October to come and talk to us about scraps because we have the mystery quilt and the IAQ using our scrap fabrics, which I'm super excited about. But I'll be talking a little bit about that and teasing it tomorrow. Yeah. So scraps are crazy, overwhelming, but we'll talk about those tomorrow. But the quilt blocks are a little bit easier to deal with because they're already sewn, they're already made. What is fun about them is they're all different sizes, they're all different colors, and they have no purpose. So there's no guilt related to cutting them up and using them into something new. So the question is, what are you going to use? What are you going to make with your blocks? Would love to hear what you're thinking of doing with those quilt blocks. I knew Lucy well, I'm not sure when, but anyways, she was making extra large blocks for the back of the quilts, but the back of quilts is perfect for tossing in your extra blocks that you've made that just don't fit in there or whatever. So Angie, I've got some examples here. Angie uses leftover quilt blocks and she puts them into mini quilts. They're adorable. Oh my gosh, adorable. And I believe I've got a little stand for mini quilts and the block has to be like a 6x6 and it fits in just perfect. Love it. Karen's going to use hers for a book cover. That's what I had in right here to the left is the book cover, the composition book cover. Those are super fun. And I love doing them because it makes your composition book look so good. On the bottom right is a mesh front zipper bag, but the back and the inside back is quilt blocks. So Joni, last time you picked a mile a minute, came up with several blocks, 2 pin cushions, odd shapes, but some materials I bought with my mom years ago, and I couldn't part with the scraps. So I love that. And that was on one of them as well, is just grabbing things and making pin cushions, because we can never have enough pin cushions, first of all, and they're great gifts, second of all. And you can put them everywhere. So you can put them in your dining room where you sew, next to your couch, and in your sewing room, of course. I've got a few in my sewing room, one at the sewing station, one at the ironing station, one at the cutting mat. So yeah. And then last time, well, it's been a while, so a year, 2 years ago, oh my gosh. So this is what I did with my half square triangles. I finished them into just a funky little mini quilt. So, and then the bottom right was just like a wonky log cabin. And that was just finished in a mini quilt as well. Patty says, I like the project bags idea. Yes, and pin cushions. Good morning, Cindy. Great idea for the back. Yes, really. That it's, I mean, the backs, you do look at them, but they aren't as, they don't need to be as funny and as perfect as the front. So yeah. Melissa says, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to sort them into their own bin. My organizing is still working progress. Yep, it always is, Melissa. It always is. They might become doll bed quilts for my granddaughter if I can find enough. And if they are actually extra, knowing me, they are needed for a quilt somewhere. Seriously, that happens to me all the time. But yes. And if you don't have enough quilt blocks, you can always add spacers. So just strips of fabric that border the block, maybe on 2 sides to make it fit. So if you don't have blocks You know, we've got enough scraps as it is. We can add to that to make it the size we want and such. So yeah. Joyce is checking in with Cindy. Yes. All right. Let's see here. What's our next one? We've got Elaine Orphan Quilt Blocks. I found one is from a block swap and got the block put together. Need to decide, make a pillow or wall hanging. So fun. 2 is a block made for Eleanor Burns. The only block she made. It's finished, but the rest realistically probably will not. So yeah, just finding something different for that. That one would be adorable as a doll quilt. And I know Elaine's probably finished these already and would be love to hear how you have actually finished it. Variety of row by row that decided what to do. Don't need another row by row quilt. Yep. So just deciding how those would be fun as just table runners. And leftover French braid strips. Yeah, and then Lisa decided that she had enough drawstrings bags, so a quilt case, brilliant. So I know a lot of quilters use pillowcases to transport their pillows or their quilts around. And so using your orphan quilt blocks, lining them with a muslin so you don't leave strings all over everything is a perfect way to use those up. Sue says, I've made some of them into practice quilt sandwiches to practice free motion quilt motifs. Brilliant idea, Sue. Yeah, and those are perfect. Yeah, those are perfect for that because you're practicing and you can use those for donation quilts or animal shelter donations. Yeah. Sandy says, I gift my quilts in a pillowcase. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I love that idea. So yeah, using leftover quilt blocks for that is a great idea as well. I know sometimes we buy excess backing fabric. And so using that for the pillowcase works great too. Marcia says, I have a box of paper piecing small blocks from swaps that I need to work on. Some of the exchanges were subject that I'm no longer interested in, but might make mini quilts for gifts. Brilliant idea, Marcia. I know some, not tablecloths, but what is it called? Placemats. Placemats are perfect for these kind of things as well. Even mug rugs when they run into a smaller size, like an 8x6 or something like that. So yeah. But yes, exactly. And this is exactly what happens is we run into these blocks and we're like, eye roll major. We don't want to use these anymore. We're not interested in anymore. And what can we do with them? So that's what the ebook is all about. So I said this was going to be a quick one, so we don't have a whole lot to talk about, but let's review. What are you going to be doing? Collecting your blocks. So during your organization, I'm sure you found quite a few of those quilt blocks. Collect a few of them, your same size, same color tone, or whatever combo you'd like. Because even though we have a pile of quilt blocks and they are kind of random and scrappy and don't make sense, there's usually a theme within them that you can find that collectively they look good together. And then 2 is pick out a project that would work for the collection of blocks. This is not about perfection. This is just about getting them into something new and having some fun sewing just a small project. This is like the quick win here. If you need, start with number 2 and then go to number 1. So pick a project and then dig through your quilt blocks and find the supplies and materials that you need. So super, super simple for today. So what's your goal for today? We are here to support you. And if anybody has any questions, I am going to stop the screen share and it's just me again. Yes. So let's see. I have some blocks that all have lavender. So I want to improv more blocks for baby quilt size. Janet, I've received some of those lavender sachets and they're wonderful. I love them. Such a good idea. Marcia says, I have a box of paper piecing small blocks. Oh, I already read that one. Yes, we don't like them anymore, so let's put them into something different. Making a mini or two for surprise gifts. You know, those are so much fun, seriously. And having the orphan blocks in a pile, not so much fun. But having a little pile of mini quilts that you can gift randomly is a lot of fun. I know, like, I've joined a couple quilt groups and we have swaps every once in a while. So this is a great way to, like, have a few things done and ready to go for those kind of things. Marcia says lots of 6-inch blocks. Yes. Okay. So for those and alternating, so if you have a 6-inch just regular fabric that is coordinating with the blocks would be super cute. Put them on point with the 4 edges. Triangle edges would be super cute. 6-inch blocks make really adorable mini quilts. So super, super adorable mini quilts. Continue making my blocks. That's your goal. Yes. Yep. Bobby says, hand me down random blocks, practice quilt, and use between bowls in cabinet as paddings. Brilliant, Bobby. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Christine stores all of her leftover blocks in a box. Yep, I had mine in a drawer and it was like I could barely open. It was so chock full, seriously. Baby quilt sounds great. Yes, Sue. And with those baby quilts, you just find ones that coordinate together and find a fun fabric that goes along with it and then just use that for spacers and have some fun. Ooh, the stand-up baskets. Carol, those are, I love those. Those have 4 blocks because there's 4 sides and then one bottom is just the fabric and then lining. I love them. Marcia says, I hit that box. I guess I will pull it out and make some stuff. Just a few, just make one thing, Marcia. These are like quick wins because they don't overwhelm you as far as like most of the parts are ready for you to go. You just have to add maybe a filler or a lining fabric. So Melissa says, I'm giving my friend a quilt to bind because she swears she loves it. And I'm calling that a win today. Yes, Melissa, that is a win. We will celebrate with you for sure, for sure. Yeah, from the ones you like. Yeah, don't worry about the ones you hate. Yeah, and let's talk about the ones you hate. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, what to do with our projects that we no longer like. One of the options was giving them away, donating them. And so really, I know there's organizations that take blocks. Sue, you just did a bunch that had you donated all your quilt blocks to another program. So yeah. Yeah. Ooh, binding buddies. Yes, those are adorable. Yeah. So yeah, if you hate them and you're not going to ever use them for anything, donate them. They're not worth any kind of stress or storage space. We've got enough in our sewing room not to worry about those any longer. So if that's the case, then do it. Yeah. Let's see. So I don't see any other questions, and I look forward to seeing your goals for the day. So this one is really a hit and miss as far as if you want to do it. So if you have your projects lined up and you don't want to throw anything else in there, it's fine. But this is just a great way to kind of mix it up. The projects are smaller. They don't typically take a whole lot of time, but they do take a little bit of time because you're sorting through things and your blocks and picking ones that you can use. So, yeah. So if you feel like it, grab your blocks, grab your ebook, take a look at it, see what's projects interest you, and check in with us, of course, as well as your accountability buddy. And Marcia says, send me your address. All right, that's a private message to somebody else. And I'm assuming it's for, yeah. And stuffed animals are a perfect way to get our orphan quilts blocks used as well. So there's lots of ideas, lots of inspiration. If you are stuck, snap a picture of your blocks. Let us talk about it with you. So just be in there. I don't know what to do with these. And we have got a lot of ideas collectively, and we can help you get unstuck or help you decide what you want to do. Sue says, we look forward to seeing that corner of boxes lessen in size. You can do it. Be careful not to lift anything too heavy. Yes, for sure. Seriously. Yeah, I know. Fabric is heavy, and when we store it, it gets even heavier. So, yeah. All right, that is it for me today, short and sweet. I look forward to chatting tomorrow, where we are talking about sewing over the weekend and a little sneak peek about what is coming up for using your scraps. So thank you again for joining me today. If you are catching this on the replay, all of the other previous videos are in the announcements. And then check your email daily for those links, as well as the downloads and our schedule. So that is it. And we will sign off and talk to everybody inside the Facebook group and tomorrow as well. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. See you.